I don't talk about the labels on the cue cards very much, because they're honestly kind of boring. Not as boring as the US ones, where they're just a solid color and the title of the game. But on the PC Engine, the cue card label is almost always the exact same picture as the game's cover. In the case of Cybercore, you might notice that they put screenshots on the game's cover. And that's because at this point there's nothing on the back of the case. I just seem to be trying an experiment to make their game get some attention on shelves. And you might say to yourself, there's perfectly good art there. Surely they wouldn't include the screenshots on the cue card label. And to that I say, don't call me Shirley. Cybercore is a vertically scrolling shooter about a mutated hero taking on the giant insects that have conquered the Earth. This is one of those shoot-em-ups that we're still following the Xevious model of having separate air attack and ground attacks. Ground attacks are on button 1, air attacks are on button 2, and they both auto-fire as fast as they can, so you can leave those switches off on your PC Engine. Cybercore has a fairly complicated power-up system, where there's 14 different forms that you can take, and every one of those is given a name in the manual. Now you might think, surely he's not going to go over all of them, and to that I say, what did I just tell you about calling me Shirley? You start out as the Cybercore, so it's convenient they named the game that. This is a little brown insect body that shoots 2 bullets straight ahead and can drop just 1 bomb at a time. There are 4 colored power-ups you can get to change your form, and these usually drop from this bright green bug. The bug is indestructible, but the more you shoot it, the more power-ups drop. And they always go in a cycle from red to blue to green to yellow, and then back to red. The first time you pick up a color, it always has the same effect. You get a spread of standard bullets and a second bomb. If you ever pick up a color that doesn't match you, then you go back to this level of firepower. Picking up an icon to power yourself up also gives you a point of shield, and naturally this will let you take 1 hit. The red power-ups are Swallowtail, and the initial one is just called Swallowtail Base. Collect a second red power-up, and you become a blue Swallowtail, even though you're still colored red. This gives you a small spread of ring shots, and switches out your bombs. You only drop 1, but it's much more powerful. Collecting another red power-up will give you a 3rd ring shot, along with a 2nd power bomb. The slow rate of fire made me prefer other options to the Swallowtail, but there are a lot of ground-based bosses, and the stronger bombs can help there. Collect a blue power-up and you become the Beetle Base. And then the 2nd blue power-up turns you into Gun Beetle. This has an enormous spread of rapid fire shots. On top of that, it adds a 3rd bomb. 1 more blue power-up and you become Cyber Beetle. That gives you a spread of 5 shots. The Beetle forms would be my pick for the most useful. Between the spread and the rate of fire, it's good for just about every situation. A green power-up will turn you into Mantis Base. And then the 2nd green turns you into Mantis Ripper. This makes some crescent-shaped attacks fire out from you and then arc back into you. With the Ripper, you only fire 2 of them. But another power-up and taking the Mantis Cruiser form will let you shoot 3 of those crescents. This is probably the worst option to take. For the most part, enemy attacks in Cybercore aren't things you can shoot down, so you're giving up a lot of your effectiveness if you choose to be a Mantis. On the other hand, there are a couple of bosses that exclusively fire things at you that you can shoot down, and those are the places where the Mantis is going to be the most effective. Finally, collecting your first yellow power-up will give you Hornet Base. The second one transforms you into Hornet Harrier, and that fires a powerful shot straight forward. You fire 2 of these blasts at once, and the 3rd yellow power-up will turn you into the Gyro Hornet, which fires 3 blasts straight ahead. My personal feeling is that the spread attacks are more useful than the focused fire, but there are plenty of strong enemies that the Hornet form will just go right through. There's one more form that you can take, but it's a secret one. If you collect power-ups in this order: red, blue, green, green, yellow, red, and then drop back to the default Cybercore form, you become Cybercore Mutation. And while you might not have any shields in this form, it's a combination of the Swallowtail, Mantis, and Hornet forms. It's something that makes for a neat gimmick, but I think it's not the most effective way to fight. If you lose all of your shields and get hit in any of these forms, then you immediately drop back to the one right before it. And so on until you're all the way back at the original Cybercore form, at which point one more hit will cause you to lose a life. There are a few more power-ups you can collect than this. You can get an extra bomb, which will let you drop 4 bombs at once if you're in one of the powered-up modes. And you can collect a shield recharge. There's even an invincibility that will make you flash for about 15 seconds. As for your speed, it's indicated in the lower left-hand corner, and you can press select to choose between one of 3 levels. It defaults to the slowest, but even the slowest is pretty effective. Cybercore has 8 stages, and naturally there's a boss at the end of every one of those. A lot of them are ground-based, like this very familiar-looking red-eyed bug. It's actually the worst part of the game, because the rate of fire on your bombs is incredibly slow. It makes these ground-based bosses take an excessively long time. Cybercore gives you 3 lives with which to beat it, and of course you earn extra lives through the score. If you get a game over, then the continue option appears on the title screen. However, if you're still having trouble, you can press select on the title screen, and that brings up an option to enter a password. There's around 25 known passwords that do something to the game, and you can fully power yourself up or jump right to the final stage. Cybercore is not the most well-regarded shoot-'em-up on the PC Engine, though most of the complaints against it are that it's too easy. Now personally, I found it to be kind of nicely balanced. It is on the easy side. It's very possible to just look at the screen and work out a path to avoid things. And if you lose a life or get knocked all the way back to Cybercore, it's not impossible to build yourself back up. My complaints are that there's just not enough power-ups. There might be 2 usable ones per stage. And the bombing attacks just feel kind of old-fashioned at this point. The game might have worked a little bit better if there were fewer shields. If you manage to get fully powered up, then you can get hit 7 times before you're defeated. But overall, I find Cybercore to be a good shoot-'em-up. It's very approachable for newcomers, and even if you're good enough to breeze through it, it's still a fun time.